All right, like I said, shouts to the Gamer Access. This is a trailer right here of the game, and I'll put links in descriptions for the different trailers and interviews and things like that. And I'm going to do another video, kind of talking more about the interviews. But you see here, I believe they're in London. I believe it's the main setting. Correct me if I'm wrong, but the main character right here. Yeah, visually this looks stunning. From some of the interviews I heard, they said that the draw distance in this game is absolutely amazing. You can see miles and miles in front of you and things like that. So that's awesome. You see here, main character and one of the other characters right here doing some parkour and stuff. It's pretty cool. If you guys seen those gifs the other day, I think this is it's pretty much all that same stuff, but we're just seeing it all together, and you can really see the fluidity between gameplay, cutscenes, and all that. It's got that movie aspect ratio to it. I believe it's 16:9. Correct me if I'm wrong. Once again, I just woke up, y'all. Sorry, but yeah, here's a third-person shooter gameplay right here. Looks like your typical third-person shooting, which is not a bad thing. Looks really good. Cover shooting mechanics look good. I like the crosshairs, how it's kind of horizontal like that actually. And right here, I believe it's went from cutscene, probably about to go back. It's going to go back to gameplay, I believe. Right here, that all actually could have been gameplay for all I know, but I'm assuming right here this is all mostly just kind of quick timey cutscenes. And here's what I was talking about right here with the option of either bashing his head in or stabbing him like that. No, I mean, yeah, I mean, it's not not really too much else to say. I mean, it's like your typical third-person shooter, but with a next-gen sheen over it, I guess, with the fluidity and then the overall graphics. Which, I mean, I expect the graphics to look good. This is a new system, you know, being the PS4. It's an exclusive, so they only had to focus on this one console as well. It's one of the weapons right here. I'm not sure the hell that is, but it's dope. Shouts to the Gamer Access once again. I'm using this video as kind of the reference or whatever. But yeah, I put links in the description for all that stuff. So yada yada yada. And yeah, that's the order. I'll get my some more thoughts in probably another video. But yeah, check out more of me talking after this part. Okay. Alright, what's good, y'all? It's your boy Bobby W223 here, and I just saw the gameplay for the Order 1886 and some interviews, things like that. I'm gonna have some clips kind of going back and forth through this video, and I'm gonna make another side video that kind of has to do with this game and just Sony and the PS4 in general. So stay tuned to that either today or tomorrow. We'll see. But yeah, overall, saw the videos and the interviews, like I said. Looks good. I never said that the game couldn't be good. My whole thing was I just didn't understand the initial hype before when we didn't see any actual gameplay. But animations look good, visuals look good, story sounds interesting from the interviews that I watched, and everything. How the characters all supposed to kind of have like a backstory, different things like this. Looks cool. I like the interactivity with the quick time events. I'm somebody who actually is a fan of quick time events, whether it's God of War, Heavy Rain, those type of games. Looks like you kind of have options in one part where he knocks the guy down and you can either grab his knife and stab him, or I guess you could like bash his head in or something like that. I'm not sure. Like I said, I'll have some clips running through, and I'll probably gonna talk over those as well and kind of give my opinions on that. But real quick, like I said, I'm gonna make a side video about this, but real quick, I still wish this game had co-op. I understand they want to be a story driven character focused game, and I do like those kind of games, don't get me wrong. I understand that there are benefits to having a game that's focused more, in as a single player game versus something where you have to have, 2 to 4 characters together all the time, blah blah blah. I understand that, but I feel that Sony does need more exclusive, AAA cooperative games. I know there's Deep Down coming, made by Capcom and Sony Japan, things like that. But I feel they need more. But I'll get into that in another video. But as far as The Order goes, looks good. Looks like it's gonna be another fun third-person shooter action game. Looks like it'll be great. People are already comparing it to Uncharted, which that's good. Because Uncharted is one of the best exclusives that Sony offered on the PS3. So any game that Sony comes out with that's compared to that, that's automatically gonna be something that people are gonna keep their eye on. So yeah, it does look good. Overall, I just, I'm a little more excited now. It's still not my most anticipated game or anything like that, but it does look, very promising. Let's say great animations, visuals look good, gameplay looks pretty much like what we've seen before, your typical third-person shooter action, cover-based, but the fluidity was something that stuck out to me, that really, I guess, gave it that next-gen feel, was how fluid it went from cutscene to gameplay. Very few games did that last gen. Uncharted, I guess, kind of being one of them. But they've even kind of taken it to another step, which is good. Hopefully more games can be this fluid, at least as far as the single player games, ironically. But yeah. I'm going to go ahead and roll some footage, and shout outs to Nick McCandless from thegameraccess.com. That's the first channel I'm going to show. Hopefully he doesn't get too pissed at me. I'll put a link in the description to all the videos and to his website and stuff too. But yeah, here we go. And here's a 10-minute interview from PlayStation Access, so shout outs to them as well.
So the engine, of course, is going to be for PS4. So what is the PS4 engine allowing you to do that you have built as well yourselves?
Yeah.
What is it allowing you to do that you couldn't have done on PlayStation 3?
That's a really tricky question, because the more I see games coming on PS3 in the end of the cycle, you see amazing things being done on that platform. So definitely on a technical side, on the graphical side, there are things that we couldn't do. I mean, the thing for us that we really kind of held to was the fact that with the PS4, we're able to have this seamless transition between cinematics and gameplay, and not lose anything at all between the two. More often than not, a lot of games have a tendency to do pre-rendered cinematics and move into gameplay. Suddenly, it's not really the same thing you see. It's close, but not quite there. For us, there is no disconnect between the two. What you see is what you get in both, and we showed the trailer at E3. We're showing more stuff right now, and it really is the same.
Yeah. I mean, what I saw earlier on, when you move from cutscene into game, the whole room just went, because there was nothing. It just looked just as beautiful. Now, the order that we've seen so far has been 4 main characters. How will this work for the player? Will you get to pick which character you are and follow their journey through, or will you switch between?
In our game, actually, you'll be only able to play as Galahad. The reason why, actually, is that for a first game, and especially introducing an IP to the player, we did not want to dilute the message by basically having all these different storylines, having to meld into one single major story or major plot. For that reason, we stayed on Galahad. We tried to make Galahad the center point of everything that happened, but at the same time, there is a squad. There is a squad, and each of those characters have a big part to play in the whole storyline. What they bring to the story is not only that character traits, but also story twists that are going to keep on going throughout the game. But ultimately, it is Galahad that you want to meet, that you want to find out about, and that you really want to follow through this journey where he's going to become somebody that you will hopefully attach to and hopefully play further along, in the future.
In the future.
Yeah.
So obviously we've got the DualShock 4, which allows some new features. What have you guys been doing with the DualShock 4? Anything special?
Yeah, it's been fun actually. The DualShock 4, the fun part about it again is that they, Sony actually perfected technologies they already had before with the gyros that they had in the Move and the DualShock 3 that they had before. Well, the gyro in the Move actually was really something that we played with a little bit, but then when we saw the DualShock 4, we realized that we could use it for multiple things. For example, in the game, we're using a few mechanics that would take advantage of the touchpad. You saw today in the gameplay demo, there was the touchpad being used to basically send a Morse code. It was almost a natural thing. We didn't have to think twice about it and go okay, which button is it going to be on? It was, well, it's going to go on the main touchpad because it clicks and it feels like a Morse code. We're trying to leverage some of that, but the most important thing for us is always, the same drive that we have, that the immersion should be total. We don't want we don't want to force the player to do something that would take them away from the experience. So although there are a lot of things we could do, we're always going to rely on the fact that our first goal is always to the player, and the only person we need to satisfy is the player. And to make sure to do that, we need to also make sure that we don't impose design mechanics that that takes them out of the gameplay.
Talk about seamless gameplay. When we were seeing the gameplay demo, it was very clear screen. There weren't loads of different HUDs all around the place. Is that a decision you guys have made on purpose to make things seamless? And how will people be able to command everything from there?
Yeah, we did actually make it a strong driving factor to not have a big HUD. It's still something we're struggling with, to tell you the truth. It would be great to play a game, and some games do that so well with the HUD completely integrated. We wish we could, but again, that I think detaches you from the era as well. So we are trying to stay true to the era by doing the HUD in a way that it would be believable, like almost something that you could find in drawings being done back then. And at the same time, minimize it so that the player is not always reminded of the fact that this is a game. We want the HUD to be there for the purpose of, the game side of it, but not to make people feel like it's a game every single moment.
Okay, well, the final question then has to be combat. We saw some amazing cover style third person shooting going on. It's amazing, but it was when we got to the QTE, when we got to actually taking someone down in melee. Can you explain to us how you've worked that? Because it's always interesting to see how people take on the third person genre, but add something new to combat.
Absolutely.
Which is difficult.
Absolutely, it's actually very difficult. In the beginning, you always start with this dream of like, oh, it's going to be 50% melee, 50% combat. It never is. It truly never is, because you're always going to have to rely on something a little bit more than the other to make sure that the core mechanics actually rely on something that is tried and true. What we did with a third-person shooter is that we tried to hold true to some of the things we loved about it and add other things that we loved about other genres. The melee, as you described, the fun part about it was to bring that QTE sense, but into a different atmosphere where you could engage in combat and suddenly be allowed, be given the choice of doing different things with it. So for example, our QTEs sometimes will have branching where you might be able to fail one QTE and it doesn't mean that you failed the sequence. It just means that it goes on a different path. So that allows people to play the same exact sequence multiple different ways and see multiple different endings. And in the one that we showed today, again, you have the choice to do that. It's not just a question of failing the button, it's also a choice of choosing what you want to do. For example, in the last move, we showed the player grabbing the knife, or our hero grabbing the knife and killing the rebel. But in the game, you'll see that you have multiple choices. There are different ways to basically achieve the same goal. So it's fun. It's going to be fun to see people go like, oh, you know what? I tried this path. And another person will say, well, actually, I didn't see that. I saw this. But they still got through to the through the storyline.
It's all sounding absolutely amazing. Thank you so much for taking your time to talk to us.
Thank you.
We will definitely be covering more of the Order in the future because I'm super excited about it. Guys, you can stay tuned to PlayStation Access and don't forget to subscribe to make sure you don't miss anything from the world of PlayStation.